Explora is a board game that includes both map and timeline work. Players accumulate points by situating facts, events, people in both time and space. They use information displayed to them on playing cards. But wait, is it a card game too? Let's find out. Explora helps students to test their knowledge on a given society or on societies over time. Our game contains cards that cover New France in 1745 to Quebec in approximately 1905. Players first identify elements on a playing card that they draw. Apart from the facts and events displayed on the card, they need to identify the time period, the location, and consider if it relates to an aspect, such as is it about politics, the economy, or culture. Points are won for each element that they can successfully identify and indicate on the board. We use a card deck that's easily created with images and information from the Societies and Territories websites. It contains information on the back with a title and a key image on the front. All cards are shuffled. All cards are arranged picture side up in a pile. The board is placed in the middle of the table for all players to use. You can see now that the board contains a map, a timeline, and also a place used to identify the aspect. You will need a token or objects of some kind to identify elements, but also to keep track of points on the board. We suggest using centicubes. Each team chooses a color and takes 10 centicubes in that color. One of their cubes is used to keep track of points, so it is placed by the number line on the top of the board. Here is how the game is played. Team 1 takes a card. The first team examines the picture side of their card and its clues carefully. They then decide on how many cubes to risk. They can place a maximum of 3 cubes on the board. One on the map to situate the place of the event in time, one on the aspect related to this card, and finally they can place 1 cube on the timeline to situate this card in time. Now we see if they win any points. A maximum of 4 points can be obtained per round, with the opposite team checking the back of the card to validate the answers. How do they do that? Well, they can read the information on the card, or even follow the QR codes to the Societies and Territories website for clarification. Correct answers are indicated in obvious ways, like for example there's a date, or you might see a letter that indicates an aspect, or for example locations may be bolded in the text. If their answers are different than indicated on the card, they can still get points if they're able to justify their choices. A maximum of 4 points can be awarded. 1 point for the correct answer on the map, 1 point for the correct aspect indicated, and 2 points for the correct date on the timeline, or possibly 1 point for getting it in the right century at least. Remember, not all 3 cubes have to be used. Players only use the number of cubes that they feel confident in placing, and they hold back the others. Correct answers mean you keep the cubes. Incorrect means you lose the cubes. One way to lose is to lose all your cubes first. Here's an example of gameplay where a team plays all 3 of their cubes. Look closely, they only get 3 of the 4 possible points. The date is close, but not quite right. They did place the point close to Quebec City, where Cap Rouge exists, and they identified the aspect as being demographic in this case, because we're talking about the colony and its population. Here's another example of the blue team, let's say, playing the same card. You can see they only get 2 points because they placed it completely in the wrong time period, not even in the correct century. Note at the top that they've used one of their cubes to move it to the second place for 2 points. And here's what it looks like when the red team wins. In this case, they win because they reach 30 first, but they can also win when all their opposing teams lose all their cubes. And that's how you play Explora. It's a board game that includes map and timeline work too. The last little part of this video talks about where you can get the game and how you can make your own. Check out the Societies and Territories website. Look for the game Explora or search in the Educators menu for Games. On the Explora game page, you'll be able to access instructions, but also print out the map, and you'll be able to access a printout page for all the cards that we have available. We intentionally used Google technologies to make our cards. The original card designs are available for you to copy and edit as you wish. You can use Google Drawings or Google Slides to create your own cards. This could be a great activity for your class, especially if you want to use cards that we don't have in a time period that we haven't covered. As with our other available card series games, these need to be printed out, cut appropriately, and then folded in the middle. You could even laminate it afterwards if you want. Teachers should also check out our design thinking templates that are available from the main game page under the Educators menu. There you'll find some suggested strategies for considering your audience, for brainstorming ideas for a game, for prototyping, testing, and then reworking your own game designs.